Making headlines this hour. President Dr. Mohamed Muizzu announces that the airport and hospital projects in Ali Fushi Ra Atoll will be completed and officially opened within his current presidential term. Minister of Homeland Security, Labour and Technology Ali Ihsan announces that the Maldives Police Service will introduce a drone as a first responder service next year to improve emergency response. And the Parliamentary Committee of the Whole improves a government-proposed amendment to the law to reduce the import duty on cigarettes. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to PSM News in English with me, Fatma Zaina Rifat. And now for the news in detail. President Dr. Mohamed Muizzu sends a message of condolence to French President Emmanuel Macron, following a plane crash in the town of Tomblaine in northeastern France. In his message, President Muizzu expressed profound sadness upon learning of the tragic accident, which claimed the lives of the pilot and all passengers on board. On behalf of the government and the people of the Maldives, the President extended his sincere sympathies to President Macron, the government and the people of France during this time of grief. The President also conveyed his heartfelt condolences to the bereaved families for their immense loss and expressed his best wishes for the success of the ongoing investigation into the cause of the accident. President Dr. Mohamed Muizzu nominates Mohamed Shakil to serve as President of the Elections Commission of Maldives, ECM, forwarding his name to Parliament for approval. The position became vacant following the resignation of Mohamed Zahid as both president and member of the Elections Commission. Under the law, a new president can only be appointed once the commission has its full complement of 5 members. With the approval of the parliament, President Muizzu appointed Mohamed Shakil as a member of the Elections Commission on 24th June, restoring the commission to its full membership. The president has now submitted Shakil's nomination for the post of President of Elections Commission to the parliament. The nomination has been referred to the Parliament's Independent Institutions Committee for review. If the committee endorses the nomination, it will be presented to the full Parliament for a vote. Shakil will assume the presidency of Commission if his nomination is approved by majority of members. Shakil previously served as a member of the Elections Commission from 3rd December 2014 to 9th May 2018. Before that, he served as the Commission's Director General from 1st September 2013 to 3rd December 2014. Most recently, he served as Managing Director of Maldives Hajj Corporation. The Elections Commission comprises 5 members. Its current members are Vice President Abdul Rahman Salah Rashid, Hassan Zakaria, Abdul Hasib Ismail, Rifat Abdullah, and Mohamed Shakil. President Dr. Mohamed Muizzu announces that the airport and hospital projects in Ali Fushi Ra Atoll will be completed and officially opened within his current presidential term. The president made the remarks during his regular series of meetings with journalists, responding to a question from a reporter regarding the stalled progress of the Ali Fushi Hospital project. A 30-bed hospital is currently being developed in Ali Fushi under a project valued at $8.3 million. The project was awarded to MTCC with a completion period of 2 years. President Muizzu said the healthcare sector remains one of the highest priorities of his administration. He noted that healthcare accounts for one of the largest shares of projects awarded and scheduled to be awarded under this year's state budget. Highlighting the condition of the healthcare sector when his administration assumed office, the president said the system had been in a very fragile state. He said the government's current efforts are focusing on establishing a holistic healthcare system capable of delivering comprehensive services to all citizens, while acknowledging that some projects are not progressing at the desired pace. The president stressed that Ali Fushi Ra Atoll plays an important role in regional development. He said all pledges made to the island, including the airport and hospital projects, would receive special attention. The president further stated that a special schedule has been developed to complete hospitals and healthcare centers across the country, with projects planned for completion in different phases throughout his term. Healthcare services in Alifushi are currently provided through a health center. The new hospital building is expected to expand available space and increase access to specialist medical services for residents. The new hospitals being constructed under the government's program are designed to include flu clinics and isolation facilities, allowing healthcare services to continue uninterrupted during disease outbreaks, such as COVID-19. In addition, each hospital is scheduled to be equipped with solar photovoltaic PV system to help reduce energy costs. The development of an airport in Alifushi-Ra Atoll, which is geographically isolated from the other islands in the atoll, has long been a key aspiration for the island's residents. To facilitate the project, 50.5 hectares of land have been reclaimed. According to the government, 80% of the reclaimed land has been allocated for the airport development. The remaining land will be used to address housing needs for Alifushi's population of approximately 3,000 people and to allocate space for economic activities. The airport project includes the construction of a 1,200-meter runway, an apron, a taxiway, and airport roads. It also includes development of a terminal building, a fire station building, the installation of firefighting facilities, and the construction of a 655-meter security fence. The project is being funded through the state budget at a cost of $27.6 million US. President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu announces a total of 3,280 users have connected to the newly introduced PayPal service in the Maldives. Launched on 15th June, the platform fulfills a Cree presidential pledge to establish e-wallets featuring modern online payment systems and highly accessible arrangements for domestic and international financial transactions. Responding to a journalist's inquiry, President Muizzu characterized the arrival as a significant milestone that previous administrations had attempted but ultimately failed to secure. The current administration achieved the integration through dedicated efforts from its first day in the office and will now focus toward expanding its domestic reach. The service has garnered substantial support since its debut, with 3,280 individuals linking accounts and 2,159 successfully activating their digital wallets. Operating through a seamless integration between PayPal and Ooredoo Maldives via the Ooredoo M-FASA platform. The deployment formally classifies the island nation among the region's most advanced digital economies. President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu assures the public that the government is working tirelessly to bring the RTL Rajah Transport Link ferry service to the standards expected by citizens, even as delays caused by the Middle East conflict has forced a reordering of spending priorities. Speaking at a press conference, the president fielded a question from a journalist about the status of the RTL ferry network. He acknowledged that the original target of completing the service across all atolls by the end of this month had not been met, citing the broader economic and logistical challenges posed by the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. According to the latest official data, the RTL ferry service has already been launched in 15 atolls, with 35 speedboats currently in operation and an additional 12 vessels under construction. The network, which began in 2022, now covers 145 islands across the archipelago. The government's next phase will focus on interconnecting atolls, ultimately linking each atoll to one another and eventually integrating the various zones within the country. The Minister of Homeland Security, Labor and Technology, Ali Ihsan, announces that Maldives Police Service will introduce a drone as a first responder service next year to improve emergency response. Speaking at a ceremony marking the 93rd anniversary of the Maldives Police Service, Minister Ihsan said the initiative forms part of the government's efforts to modernize policing and improve the quality of services. He explained that once the system is operational, a police drone will be dispatched immediately after an incident is reported. The drone will transmit live video footage from the scene to responding officers and the police command and control center. The minister said the technology will enable officers to assess incidents in real time, even if traffic congestion or travel by sea delays their arrival at the scene. He added that the new system is expected to significantly improve the speed and effectiveness of police responses. Minister Ihusan also said efforts are underway to equip the police with advanced technology to further strengthen policing services. The minister also announced plans to upgrade the 911 Emergency Response Center at the Police Command and Control Center with the next generation call handling technology, real-time caller location tracking, and instant access to police camera feeds in the surrounding area. He said the current administration is giving a special priority to expanding police services across the Maldives by investing in modern technology, developing human resources, and improving the infrastructure needed to support policing. The Parliamentary Committee of the Whole approves a government-proposed amendment to the law to reduce the import duty on cigarettes. The bill was submitted to Parliament on behalf of the government by Komando MP Mohammed Ibrahim. Under the current Export-Import Act, an import duty of approximately $0.52 is charged on each cigarette. However, the proposed amendment would halve that amount to around $0.26. The amendment also proposes exempting nicotine replacement products, including nicotine chewing gum, nicotine patches, and similar products specifically designed to help people quit smoking, from import duty. The proposed changes to Section 7 of the Act would reduce the import duty on 3 categories of tobacco products. In addition to cigarettes, the duty on bidis and heated tobacco products designed to be heated rather than burned, would also be reduced to approximately $0.26. At present, all of these products are subject to an import duty of around $0.52. According to the government, the amendment would reduce the amount of import duty revenue projected in this year's state budget. It estimates that if the changes come into effect from 1st July, import duty revenue will fall by around $1.36 million compared with the original forecast. After reviewing the bill, the Committee of the Whole recommended that it be passed without any further amendments. The recommendation was approved unanimously by the 69 MPs who took part of the vote. Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development, Dr. Abdullah Muttalib, says the first priority under the Greater Malé Roads Modernization Project will be the upgrading of the main roads.
The minister made the remarks while speaking to the media during a visit to review the progress of surveys and studies being carried out for the redevelopment of roads in Malé and Gili Malé. China's ambassador to the Maldives, Kong Xinghua, also attended the visit. Dr. Muttalib said the Maldivian government had sought China's assistance for the project because of the country's technical expertise and experience in delivering long-term solutions to challenges such as traffic congestion, flooding, and urban road infrastructure. He added that as this is a major infrastructure project requiring significant investment, the government had secured China's grant assistance and technical support rather than funding it directly from the state budget. According to the feasibility study, the project requires detailed surveys and technical assessments that take into account Malé's current conditions, particularly its flooding issue. The minister said the project would be implemented in 2 phases, with the first phase focusing on preparing detailed designs covering all roads in Malé and Gili Malé. This stage will also identify practical engineering solutions to flooding and other road-related challenges. Dr. Muttalib said the first physical works will begin on Majidi Magu and on the roads leading to the new hospital under development in Gili Malé. Construction will also include flood-prone areas such as the road in front of Indira Gandhi Memorial Hospital and Shahid Ali Hingung. Alongside these priority works, surveys and designs for upgrading the entire road network in Malé will also continue. The minister said that while the project would take time, its main objective is to provide permanent and comprehensive solutions to the long-standing problems affecting the capital's roads. Chinese ambassador described the project as an important symbol of the long-standing friendship between China and the Maldives. He said considerable progress has already been made and that work was now focused on completing the detailed designs and final preparations before construction begins. Although the project was originally planned to be financed through the government's budget, it was later agreed during President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu's official visit to China that the Chinese government would provide grant assistance for its implementation.
Minister of State for Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development, Ahmad Nazim Mohammed, says the sustainability of housing projects in the Maldives is being undermined by the adoption of disparate models under successive governments. During the Parliamentary Housing Committee meeting, State Minister Nazim stressed that the lack of a unified legal framework meant that each administration has introduced its own housing schemes, leading to inconsistencies and reduced long-term viability. He urged the implementation of a comprehensive housing bill to embed all future projects within a strong, transparent regime. Among the key challenges posed by the current vacuum, Nazim highlighted the absence of a clear definition of basic social housing, which has resulted in uneven agreements and unequal treatment of beneficiaries. The proposed legislation, he explained, would also clarify the status of units sold at controlled prices and enable the state to prepare a dedicated housing budget. Moreover, the bill would empower the private sector through targeted incentives, fostering a more robust delivery pipeline. The proposed housing law remains a campaign pledge made by President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu upon taking office, pledging to deliver a transparent, equitable housing system for all Maldivian citizens. Hamid Nazim, the Chief Operating Officer of the state-owned Maldives Industrial Fisheries Company, MIFCO, announces in an interview with PSM News that efforts are currently underway to open retail stores in the most heavily populated islands across the country. The initiative is part of a broader mandate by the enterprise, which plays a pivotal role in the nation's fishing industry. The company is actively working to establish logistical arrangements to ensure its products are easily accessible to the public, Hamid noted, adding that beyond the capital city of Malé, the expansion heavily prioritizes establishing storefronts within cities and other islands with substantial populations across the atolls. This domestic expansion coincides with parallel efforts to organize the availability of MIFCO products in foreign countries where Maldivians commonly reside. In alignment with this strategy, a MIFCO outlet was recently opened in Sri Lanka during an official visit by President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu. The inventory includes canned tuna, fish paste, crushed fish, and the Fasmiro brand of smoked fish. South Korea lays out a sweeping industrial strategy centered on semiconductors and artificial intelligence as President Lee Jae-myung unveiled over $576 billion in investment to lock in global dominance and drive more balanced growth. The plan, anchored by Samsung Electronics and SK Hynix, marks Lee's boldest push yet to align South Korea's AI and chip ambitions with his pledge to narrow regional disparities and revive economies beyond the Seoul metropolitan area. Flanked by the chiefs of the world's two biggest memory chip makers, Lee cast the initiative as a great leap forward, centered on the triple axis of semiconductors, physical AI, and data centers. Industry Minister Kim Jong-kwon added Samsung and SK Hynix will invest 800 trillion won, or $518.30 billion, with suppliers to build two new chip fabrication sites each in South Korea's southwest region. Australia and Vanuatu signed a development and security pact that had been delayed for months over Vanuatu's concern that it could stifle investment from other countries. Australia, which is in a battle for influence in the Pacific with China, will be consulted on any third-party investment in Vanuatu's critical infrastructure and remain the country's preferred security and policing partner. Canberra has previously unveiled a funding of $344.50 million over 10 years for the pact. Known as the Nakamal Agreement, the agreement was to be signed in September, but was delayed after NAPAT said his coalition partner has raised concerns that it would restrict Vanuatu's ability to secure infrastructure funding from other countries. China is Vanuatu's largest external creditor, having provided loans through Chinese banks that financed Chinese contractors to build major infrastructure projects including the presidential office complex, a parliament building and road network. Kyle Schwarber hit a go-ahead two-run home run in the seventh inning as the Philadelphia Phillies rallied to beat the New York Mets 5-4 and hand their hosts an eighth loss in 9 games. New York Knicks star OG Anunoby threw the ceremonial first pitch before the game and posed for photographs with former Mets shortstop Jose Reyes. Schwarber, who reached 30 home runs for the 6th consecutive season, drove a 1-2 fastball from Kodai Senga to center field, with 1 out in the 7th to put Philadelphia ahead 5-4, after the Mets had wiped out a 3-run lead with 4 unanswered runs across the 5th and 6th innings. Justin Crawford left off the 7th with a single before Schwarber delivered the decisive blow against Senga, who dropped to 0-7 on the season. The Phillies had taken a 0-3 lead in the 3rd against Tobias Mayers, with Schwarber singling and stealing second, Bryce Harper hitting a sacrifice fly, Alec Bohm adding an RBI double, and Brandon Marsh contributing a run-scoring single. Jesus Luzardo allowed 1 run over 5 innings before Chase Shugart surrendered 3 runs in the 6th. Kyle Beckus earned the win. Jose Alvarado and Orion Kirkering navigated late jams, and Joan Duran closed out the 9th for his 21st save. New York stranded 14 runners and went 2 for 16 with runners in scoring position. The great tradition of animal football oracles gained an unlikely new recruit: the Texas Longhorn. A steer named Cowboy Houdini took center stage at historic Fort Worth stockyards and cast his lot in a World Cup prediction, lumbering towards a feed bucket marked with the Norwegian flag over one bearing the colors of the Ivory Coast. The event took place on the side of Stockyards' celebrated cattle drive route, where 17 Longhorns performed twice daily drives featuring the steers that once made the district of a hub of the American cattle trade. Each Longhorn represents every 10 years of Fort Worth's 176-year existence. Whether the Longhorns' pick proves prophetic when Norway and Ivory Coast finally meet remains to be seen. And that's all the news we have today. Thank you for watching PSM News.